Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to solve another lab from HTTP request smuggling vulnerability, where we will see today basic CL.TE vulnerability, where the CL will be interpreted by the front-end server and TE means transfer encoding will be interpreted by the back-end server. The lab description is saying this lab involves a front-end and back-end server, and the front-end server does not support chunked encoding. The front-end server rejects requests that are not using the get or post method. Fine. To solve the lab, we need to smuggle a request to the backend server so that the next request processed by the backend server appears to use a method named as GPOST, although GPOST is not a genuine HTTP request method. Fine. So I already opened up the lab here. This is our lab and my burp suite is also working fine. So this is the root request, web root request. I'm going to send it to the repeater 2 times. So one request I will take as I will consider the first request as the smuggled request, and second request will be our normal request. Fine. So the first thing I will make sure that the HTTP method HTTP protocol version 1 is set in both of these tabs. Okay. Fine. The second thing, I will make sure in the first tab, which is our attack request or the smuggled request, I will turn off update content length. Fine. So I will send the request to just check one time whether it's working fine or not, and it's working perfectly fine. Now I'm going to change the request method from get to post, and I don't need all of these headers, so I will delete that. And I will add here another request header, that is transfer encoding, and the value of it is chunked. Okay. Second thing, first of all, we need to make sure that the front-end server is interpreting content length, and for that purpose I will put here, let's say 4, and then here I'm gonna add here 1 2 3 4 bytes, and I will put here, let's say M or N or X, whatever, that is not a genuine hexadecimal interpretation. Okay, fine. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see how many bytes are there in the body section up to this A. Okay, so there are 7 bytes. I'm gonna put here 7 and just send the request. So if we get the communication timeout in the response, that means the front-end server is interpreting content length instead of the chunked encoding. Okay, so communication timeout. So this is a very strong indication that the front-end server is interpreting content length. Fine. So let's see. Even if I choose, let's say from here up to 4, there are 9 bytes. You can see here 9 bytes. So even if I come here and put here 9 and send the request, even now we should get here communication timeout. Why? Because the front-end server is interpreting content length, not the transfer encoding. Because if it uses transfer encoding, in that case it will see basically the first value, which is 4 in the body section. It will interpret it as the hexadecimal value. So it will say, okay, the chunk size is 4, so it will read the chunk and then it will go to the second chunk, which is M, and because M is the invalid hexadecimal value, so it will say invalid chunk size. Okay, but because it is interpreting content length, so we get here communication timeout. Fine. Now what we need to do here is, because the backend server is interpreting transfer encoding, so what I'm doing here, I'm gonna change this to 0. Okay, So once this request will go to the backend server, because interpreting transfer encoding, it will see the chunk size 0. That means the message ends here. So it will say, okay, that means the second request starts from here. Okay, and I'm gonna delete this one and send the request. Oh, wait a moment. One more thing I actually forgot. Let's just cancel the request. Okay. Here, I need to, because I want to send everything to the backend, right? Because if this thing only go to the backend, it will say, okay, the message ends here, but it will not see M. So I want this M also go to the backend. So I will take everything from M up to 0 as the body of this request. So its size is 6 bytes. So I will change it to 6 and send the request. Okay, 200. Okay, now I'm going back to the normal request and send it. And as you can see, it's saying 403 forbidden because we have unrecognized method, which is mget. So what it's basically doing, the backend server is saying, okay, the chunk size, the first chunk is 0. That means the message ends here. And the other value, which is m, is being interpreted as the beginning of the second request. So this is the beginning of the second request, and the second request start from this get. So what it will do, it will append this m in the beginning of this get. So it will say like mget. So once the second request will be processed, it will say, okay, this mget HTTP method does not exist. So it is saying unrecognized method, right? So this is what it's doing here. Now, because the lab is saying we need to say, need to exploit this in such a way that the response will see GPOST. So for that purpose, we need to, in the normal request, we also change the request method to the post, and we will leave it like that. And we put anything in the data, let's say fake data like this. Okay, fine. So what I will do, and instead of M, I will put here G. Okay, so send the request here. We will get 200. Okay, back to the normal request, send it, and you can see unrecognized method GPOST. And if we go back to our lab, we will see the lab is solved. So that's it for this video, and I think you understand everything and you enjoyed everything. Congratulations, you solved the lab. So that's it for this video, and I hope you understand everything. This is very basic, and we did it a lot of time from the beginning of this vulnerability module, which is HTTP request smuggling. So if you already watched my previous videos, lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4, you already know how you can check whether the lab is vulnerable for CL.TE or TECL, and how the front end and back end server respond in those particular cases, and what discrepancies are there. Fine. So that's it. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye.